Have you ever felt a breath against your ear when no one was there? Not a breeze, but something cold, deliberate. What if that breath was a whisper promising you secrets, if only you'd open the door? And what if, just for a moment, you actually did? Tonight, we're not just telling a story. We're looking at why some doors, once opened, can never truly be shut again. This isn't a campfire ghost story, quickly forgotten in the morning light. This is a chilling account of real experiences, compiled from whispers across the internet, from dusty forum posts, and from hushed conversations late at night. We'll journey through a single night, the turning point when curiosity twisted into terror. We'll witness the worst moments, understand the horrifying cost, and see what truly followed. This isn't just a tale. It's a late-night warning, a quiet plea to consider what you invite into your space when you play with things you don't understand. It began, as these things often do, with a bored group of teenagers. 4 of them: Sarah, the skeptic; Mark, the instigator; Emily, the nervous one; and Jake, the quiet observer. It was a Friday night, deep in the suburban sprawl of an American autumn, leaves clattering like dry bones in the wind. They were huddled in Sarah's basement, the air thick with the smell of old carpet and adolescent bravado. The Ouija board wasn't even theirs. Mark had borrowed it from his older sister's dusty closet, an antique, its varnish cracked, the letters faded, the planchette chipped. It felt heavy. The first whisper wasn't audible. It was a feeling, a chill that seeped into the room even before they laid their fingers on the planchette. It was Emily, shivering, who first said, "Maybe we shouldn't." Mark, of course, just laughed. "It's just a game, Em, relax." He was already placing his fingertips on the planchette, urging the others to join. That was the moment the energy in the room shifted. They started with the usual questions, giggling nervously, asking about crushes and grades. The planchette remained stubbornly still. Sarah, ever the skeptic, scoffed. "See, nothing." Then Jake, who hadn't said a word, cleared his throat. "Ask it something personal." His voice was oddly quiet, intense. Mark, intrigued, obliged. "Who here is most afraid of what we might find?" Slowly, agonizingly, the planchette began to move. Not to Emily, as everyone expected, but to Sarah, the skeptic. Sarah snatched her hands away, a sharp intake of breath. "I wasn't pushing it, you guys were." Emily was already on edge. "Did you feel that? The air just dropped." But it was what happened next that sealed their fate. As they argued, the planchette, still on the board, started to slide again, this time without anyone's fingers on it. It moved from letter to letter, forming a word: D-O-O-R. Then, with a shudder, it slid directly to the word Y-E-S. A soft, metallic creak echoed from the top of the basement stairs. The door, which they'd closed and latched, was now ajar, a sliver of darkness stretching into the room. No one had touched it. Who or what could have opened that door? Panic set in. Emily whimpered. Jake stared, unblinking at the open door. Mark, for once, was silent, his bravado utterly gone. Sarah, though visibly shaken, was the first to speak. "It's a draft, a coincidence." But deep down, she knew it wasn't. They decided in a rush of fear to end the session. Mark grabbed the planchette, intending to move it too. Goodbye. But it was stuck, immovable, fused to the board. The room grew colder, noticeably so, causing their breath to plume. Then, from the darkness of the open basement door, a shadow detached itself. Not a person, not an animal. Something amorphous, yet distinctly present. It moved with a sickening slowness, gliding down the stairs, not walking, but flowing. It was utterly silent, yet its presence was deafening. It filled the air with a sense of immense, ancient hunger.
The temperature plummeted further. The small bulb in the basement began to flicker wildly, casting grotesque shadows that danced like mocking figures on the walls. Then, a voice, not through the planchette, but in their minds. A cold, resonant hum that echoed in their very bones, whispering a single horrifying phrase. The shadow paused directly in front of Sarah. She couldn't scream, couldn't move. She just stared into the swirling abyss where a face should have been. A chilling, icy touch grazed her cheek, a touch that lingered long after the shadow retreated back up the stairs and the basement door slammed shut with a final, echoing bang. Did that touch leave something behind? What do you think? That night, they shattered the Ouija board, threw it in pieces into the farthest dumpster, hoping to sever the connection. They vowed never to speak of it again. But the door wasn't truly shut. Sarah began to complain of a constant chill, a feeling of being watched, especially when she was alone. She'd wake to that distinct cold breath against her ear. Mark became withdrawn, plagued by nightmares of a shadow pressing down on him. Emily developed an intense phobia of darkness, refusing to be in any room without every light on. Jake, the quiet observer, was the most unsettling. He sometimes just smiled, a slow, knowing smile that didn't reach his eyes, as if he knew a secret no one else could comprehend. Here's what we know so far. A game played, a door opened, and a terrifying entity made its presence known. What still doesn't feel right? The silence from Jake. The words, "You invited me in," spoken not aloud, but inside their heads. And the knowledge that the entity wasn't just passing through. It chose Sarah. Remember that breath against your ear? The one that promises secrets if you open the door? Sarah still feels it, and she knows now, with absolute certainty, that some doors, once opened, can never truly be shut. Because it wasn't just a door, was it? It was her door. What do you think was truly on the other side of that Ouija board? And more importantly, do you believe some things, once invited, can never truly leave? Let me know your thoughts or your own chilling experiences in the comments below. If you find yourself drawn to these late-night stories, subscribe and join our community. We have many more secrets to share.